Independent National Electoral Commission, security agencies, political parties and their flag bearers and the electorates are preparing for the presidential election that is just 11 days away. The race to Aso Rock is thinning out as the finish line becomes more visible, and so far, the names of 3 candidates have remained on the lips of Nigerians and dominated the media, indicating that the tussle for the presidency will be between them. They are the candidates of the APC, Bola Tinubu, Atiku Abubakar of the PDP, and Peter Obi of the Labour Party. All 3 candidates and their political parties have expressed confidence of winning the election, but the APC, the track record, brilliance, and nationwide appeal of its candidate, Bola Tinubu, sets him apart from the others and will see him emerge victorious. Joining us now from our Abuja studio is APC Chieftain Senator George Akume. Good morning, and thank you for joining us on TVC Breakfast.
Oh, thank you very much.
Now, let's begin with the governorship primaries in Benue State, which was just concluded, the rerun. Would you say that what's going on within the party, first of all? Is there some level of support for the candidate that has emerged? Talking about Father Alia, are we getting some support from the other aggrieved candidates who, pushed for this rerun at the end of the day? Are we seeing some support for him as we count down towards the governorship election?
Well, thank you very much. Reverend Father Alia constitutes a political movement in Benue State. And I want you to note that this is not the first time that Benue has been ruled by a Reverend Father. During the SDP NRC days, the Reverend Father Moses Osho Adasu was the governor of Benue State. And within 2 years, he was able to chalk up achievements, establishing the Flagstaff University, which is the pride of Benue State till now. Father Alia enjoys popularity that is most unprecedented in the political history of Benue State. Father Alia, it's, to say the least, like a deified human being. People struggle to touch him when they see him. People shout his name whenever he is passing. And this is done simultaneously. They are very, very committed to his candidature, which explains why he was elected during the first ballot. And he scored quite a lot of votes. And those who contested against him were not happy. Some were not happy because they never wanted the election to be determined by the direct process. They wanted indirect. But the thinking of the people, and I believe they were right, was that because the APC is in opposition in Benue State, we needed a candidate who is very, very popular. And the only way to generate such a candidate is through direct primary. It's not through delegate election. Yes, delegates, you may be able to buy here and there, but when it comes to the actual engagement, the support would not be there. And I say it with all respect to those who contested against him. Yes, it is capable of governing, but the people overwhelmingly prefer that they are in the rerun that was ordered by the Court of Appeal. It was carried out. He repeated the same feat. So some of them are already working with him. And the 3 who went to court, one took it as far as the Supreme Court where it was thrown out. Another one got his own terminated at the Court of Appeal. He spoke to me yesterday. He said it's never part of what is going on. So he's not going further than that. So we have only one case against the Reverend Father pending at the Supreme Court. The 11 people contested, and out of these 11, those who showed interest and bought the form were 11. And out of these 11, 8 of them opted for direct primaries. So it wasn't any unilateral action that was taken by the party. It was a decision of the people. And this was reported to the National Working Committee. There were the people who ordered us to hold that stakeholders meeting to determine the mode. And that was the mode that was chosen. This thing was reported to the National Secretariat to give us the go-ahead to do the direct primaries. And this was duly carried out. Yeah, you see, it's amazing. Father is in southern parts of Benue State today. Started his campaign there again, the final push for the National Assembly election. And it's going on very, very well. Everywhere they go. And the candidate, the same thing with the other candidates. I must confess, I respect the other people, contestants, but the truth is that Father stands out so distinctly. And there's no pushover whatsoever in this game. And if there is any one candidate the PDP fears in Benue State, it is Reverend Father Ali. And that is why some of these people are being funded by Government House Makurdi to cause this confusion. This is a statement of fact. We are going to win this election by the grace of God because we have worked very hard and because we have a very, very popular candidate too. He's very, very popular. We're going to win the election, no doubt about that. He has also worked very hard. All of us are committed. And out of this number, there are 6 who said all they want is recognition and protection of their interests. That's all. And the other person said no. Whether I win or not, at the Court of Appeal, that's the end of the game. And he has kept faith with that. We spoke yesterday, as I have said. Therefore, we are good to go. That's what I want to say.
Senator...
And we have been talking to people. Before that, we have been talking to people.
Yes, Senator, there are some people who said that the present governor, Governor Tom, is pulling the strings against him because he feels that a candidate Father earlier on the ballot is a way to delegitimize his continuity or the continuity of his party. Is there value to it? Because I heard that even sometimes, just to corroborate what you said, that sometimes when PDP holds a rally, people say, yes, Father.
Well, that is very true. I've touched on it. It is very true that the government in Benue State is worried and worried sick that an earlier on the ballot we bring to an end the reign of PDP. And don't forget in Benue State, and don't forget the fact that the party is hopelessly divided. Hopelessly divided. So the fear of Adalia is the beginning of wisdom. And that is why they are interfering to ensure that he doesn't appear on the ballot. He is very popular. We have spoken to some of the people who are aggrieved. And that is why I said that 6 of them said all they want is recognition and interest. They should be included. And they are. That's what is going on in Benue State. So we are very sure by the grace of God, we're going to make it to Government House on the 29th of May this year.
All right, Senator, let's talk about Father earlier. You likened him to Reverend Father Moses Oshua Dasu earlier, who was the governor during the SDP NRC era. And we, like you mentioned, we saw a lot of the things that Father Dasu had done for Benue State. What will Father Alia do if he wins the election? What are those things that Benue indigents should look forward to if he becomes the governor of Benue State?
Well, Reverend Father Alia has released his own manifesto. He has released his own policy statements. and they're rich. Benue is an agricultural state. It is supposed to be the food basket of this nation until recently, in the past 6 years or so, that it has lost that status. The truth is that our people are very good farmers. They have not been supported by government by way of provision of critical inputs like fertilizer, tractors, and so on. Fadalia is going to address the question of agriculture in Benue State. Agriculture will be given a place of pride, and agriculture will be elevated to a very high level. It will be commercialized. Agriculture will be restored to its past glory, and even beyond that. But idea we have to contend with unpaid salaries and pensions in the state is committed to human development activities. He wants to improve on the standard of education in Benue State. He wants to also improve quite a lot in the area of health. You see, today, the University Teaching Hospital is a shadow of its former self. It's not called a teaching hospital, it's called a killing hospital. He is going to develop the rural areas. He's going to ensure that access to the rural areas is improved. He's going to ensure that schools are open throughout the year so that our students can learn quite a lot. He has quite a package for the people of Benue, the rural water supply, rural electrification programs, and so on and so forth. So there is quite a rich package he has prepared for the people of Benue State. And honestly, he's a very determined man, and he's going to do this.
All right, Senator, we need to quickly go on a commercial break. When we return, we'll continue this conversation with you. Just stay with us. All right, thank you for staying with us. Before we went on the break, we were speaking with APC Chieftain Senator George Akume. He's been speaking to us with regards to the politics in Benue State, as well as also looking at the presidential election. Now, before we delve into other matters, there are those who claim that there is the possibility of your party not participating in the governorship election in the state because of the fact that this recent rerun is less than 180 days as stipulated by the Electoral Act that it happened, that the primaries happened, and as such, your candidate may not participate in the election. What do you say to that?
Well, that is the wishful thinking of the PDP. Anytime they sponsor cases against us and we win, there is gloom in Government House Makadi. And anytime APC, they have not won any case as such except this partial victory of a rerun, which was ordered by the Court of Appeal in Makodi. What the court said was that the rerun should be done in 11 of the 23 local governments, where it was assumed that the primaries were not monitored by the INEC. And Section 84, subsection 14 or 16 says, notwithstanding the provision of this act, that's Electoral Act 2022, the court of competent jurisdiction can actually order a rerun. They can also change the name. They can issue orders as appropriate to the circumstances of any case, notwithstanding the provisions of this. It was on the basis, I believe, of this that they ordered that. And don't forget, the Supreme Court here in Abuja has ordered a rerun for Taraba State, covering all the local governments, on the grounds that elections were not held in Taraba State. That is coming from the highest court of the land. Our one was partial. They said from the Court of Appeal, they said 11 local governments, out of 23. So what is the worry about that we cannot have? I believe the framers of the 2022 Electoral Act knew what they were talking about. They want to avoid the situation where they will say that a political party has no candidates. No, this is an electoral process. This is a democratic process. We are all expected to participate, and the best should win. We shouldn't win through the back door. There is nothing like that. The Supreme Court has ruled that there should be a rerun in Taraba. If the highest court in the land can say there should be a rerun for the entire local governments in Taraba State, and the Court of Appeal sitting in Makurdi said there should be a rerun in 11 out of 12, what is wrong with that? There's nothing like that.
Well,
unless those who are saying they said that the Supreme Court doesn't know what they're doing.
Let's now pivot to the presidential elections. What do you think will happen in Benue, given what many people think is the relationship between the people in Benue State and the federal government? Some people believe that maybe that will affect presidential elections. What are your take on this matter?
Well, before I answer this question, let me make some preliminary remarks. You see, I love this country. I believe in its unity and territorial integrity. And if you recall, sometime during the Third Republic, there were attempts to stage a coup against the constitutional order in this country. But it was resisted. Some of us resisted it. And in the forefront of this resistance was Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. We did it for love of country. We did not do it because we wanted to inherit anything. We did it for the love of country. And when Abiola's election was annulled by the military, people from the north and south, and Tinubu was eminently one of those who were in the forefront of attempt to de-annul this election. He was doing it for the love of country and to protect the importance and sanctity of the democratic process. Those are his credentials. Now, the issue of presidential election in Benue State has nothing to do with the federal government. The issue of presidential election in Benue State and in other states has everything to do with our candidates and the parties that present them. I am a member and founder of the APC. I am a founder of the APC. And I remember at a time when people said APC was a northern Muslim party, we decided, with Christian minorities in the north, we decided to hold our own meeting, form a small meeting to debunk that. And that is what we are also doing. And very soon we're going to issue a statement. On this basis, the presidential elections are not going to be won by any other method. They are going to be won by certain factors. And some of these factors are track record, experience, deliverables, and of course, the block vote of the entire party in the state as against a balkanized opposition. I have said it before that PDP in Benue State is hopelessly divided. is divided. So we are working as a party very strongly to win presidential election. And only Asiwaju has crossed capital P out of the presidential aspirants to win this election. We're not talking of any other thing. As party people, we believe in the supremacy of the party and nothing more. If there are 10 codes, if there are what you call fifth columnists, I think they have to learn from history. Take, for example, in Rome, we're told what happened to Brutus in Macbeth. And if you are a Christian, you look at Judas Iscariot and the way he ended up. The verdict of history is going to be very harsh on fifth columnist. I am a thoroughbred APC man. From head to toe, I think APC, I sleep APC. I want the party to win election. Remember when this party was formed, we said we were going to rule for over 80 years. Well, just 8 years. So why do we think that anything can happen in Benue State? When Asiwaju visited Benue State, even though they said the rally was not going to take place, people came, they started going back before we were told in the night, very late at night, that the rally was going to hold. And look at the number of people who turned up. Very enthusiastic people. From the airport to the stadium, they were waving. And when Asiwaju got to, he was shocked at the number of people he saw. These are people who are going to vote for our party. These are people who are going to vote for Asiwaju. These are people who are going to vote for the members of the National Assembly. That the people who are going to vote for the governor are members of the House of Assembly. And we have told them, you have to vote massively for Asiwaju Bola Tinubu to win, so that the governor can connect with the center. It is working like magic. So anybody who tells you that this is this, it's not true. There may be some pseudo this thing here and there. Yeah, it doesn't matter to us because we're working very, very hard to ensure that we win the election.
Just as a follow-up, do you think there will be a spillover from the support of Father Alia to Asiwaju? Is he also a force for the presidential election?
I have said that it is, and we have tied them together. And when he came to Makodi, the song was very interesting. He was also dancing. Vote for who? Jagaban. You see, people sometimes think that Jagaban is his name. And we say it's Bola Tinubu. In any case, the name is not going to appear. It's the party that is going to appear. And what I'm saying is, we are not new to this. And we're working very hard. Wherever Father goes, he starts from the top to the bottom. Wherever our candidates go, and you need to see the turnout, genuine people turning out to welcome our candidates. We start from the top, we come down to the bottom. That is what is going on in Benue State. And that was why I gave you that small historical background of what I'm doing. All we are saying is what? People who have been tried and have been very successful, like the president himself said, Lagos pre-1999, Lagos post-1999 are different, and they can never be the same again. That's the work of Asiwaju. And as this man said when we met with Khan, Oji Kalu, he said, if old governors like us, those who anchored the return of the country to participatory and presidential democracy in 1999 are following Asiwaju, then there is something he has to offer. Yes, we were governors, but we knew what he did. And he was the first to introduce independent power project to this country, in spite of what? in spite of all opposition. And if not because of the fight we put up to stop that constitutional coup and enthrone third term, we would have ended up with what? Imperial presidency. And there wouldn't have been a Yaradua presidency, Jonathan presidency, and the Buhari presidency. Somebody would have still been on the seat by now. I don't want to say more than that. But we fought, and Tinubu was in the forefront of that.
Right. A lot of analysts have seen the North Central as a battleground in the next presidential election. Recall that the national chairman of the two frontliners, APC and PDP, are from the North Central. And they would like to make statements at the election. Abdullahi Adamu is from Nasarawa State, who schooled in early school in Benue State. The national chairman of PDP, Ochayu, is from Benue State, and they are all sons of the North Central. Do you agree that the North Central is going to be a battleground in the coming presidential election?
Yes, we agree that Dr. Ochayu is from Benue, from North Central. Also agree, yes, Abdullahi Adamu schooled in Benue State, is from North Central. They are in two different political parties. The issue here is this. North Central State is about 85% APC. Even the governor of Benue State, who is today in PDP or Labour Party, I don't know, he won election on the platform of the APC. Of course, he did come to PDP. That's no problem. He has the right to do what he did. But we are determined to make a difference. We are sure, yes, the battleground. But the truth here is that we have the age. We have the age because already we have 5 governors on our side. And in Benue State, we are a very strong force. So the issue of whether we are Northerners or this or not does not arise. There are millions of Northerners who are supporting Asiwaju because of his track record. It has nothing to do from where he comes from. It has nothing to do with his religion. It has nothing to do with the fact that he has come from the South. But they believe, and rightly too, that he has the power to transform. And that was the basis of the president's message. And he added that he will do what? Replicate the whole thing for the entire country, what he did in Lagos.
Right. With these millions of supports that you have mentioned, what are the numbers, or what are the numbers you are seeing that you think you and the party will be able to deliver for the presidential candidate of your party? What is the pattern of voting you envisage?
I want you to cast your mind back to 2019 when the governor was talking about, he was talking about Fulanization, Islamization, and so on. The villa thought that the president will not be able to get 20%, 25% in Benue State. They were proved wrong. When he came to Benue, he saw the crowd at the stadium. He was shocked. And when the result was finally out, he got 48. I knew what happened, manipulations here and there. We were leading. But then he got 48.2 or thereabout. Now, we are stronger. So we are going to win handsomely in Benue State.
Well, looking at the election as it is, you see the Middle Belt or the North Central, we have a state like Bauchi, we have a state like Nasarawa, and then we which are seen as predominantly Muslim, and then we have states like Plateau and Benue that are predominantly Christian. Now, tell me how these factors are playing right now in the presidential reckoning.
There is nothing unusual in the composition you are talking about. This country is structurally complex, as you know. and religiously diverse, and there's also the diversity in terms of ethnicity. Remember, during the SDP-NRC days, Abiola was the candidate of the SDP, and his running mate was Babagana Kingibe. And you need to see the numbers that they got in Plateau and Benue State. This has nothing to do with religion. Rather, we believe religion should unite. I have friends in the North Central. We meet together. And if you look at the list we compiled, you'll be surprised what it looks like. The issue of religion is not playing out. I know a few people who have tried to push the issue of the candidate of the Labour Party is this, is that, but how many of them? Anyway, the issue is this, from top to bottom. That is what the APC is doing. From top to bottom, bottom up. We are voting APC. And of course, on the ballot, it's not religion that is there. It is not any ethnic group that is there. It is our party that is there.
All right, it's good to imagine that religion would not necessarily play a role here, or even ethnicity. But what factors do you think will influence the pattern of votes in the coming presidential election?
Well, you go to, I don't know whether you are referring to the whole country or you are referring to Benue State now.
I'm referring to Nigeria.
Eh?
I'm referring to the country, Nigeria.
Well, good. To the country, good. I mentioned some factors that are going to influence the elections. I say track record. I say experience, deliverables, and so on. And the fact that our party is not as disorganized as the other party. And of course, the truth is this. When you witness at Siwaju's rallies, it's not comparable to anybody. And I know that people come out of the fact that, yes, he will continue. The president has provided a roadmap. Asiwaju will build on that. And they will be happy. What people in Nigeria want, it's security. They want good life. They want their children to go to school. They want to have electricity. They want to have power. And these things have been provided. They are not yet enough. So what do we improve on that? That's what Nigerians want. It's not whether you are a Muslim, you are a Christian, you are this or that. Can you deliver? If you let me give you an example. President Obasanjo, with due respect, I respect him a lot, said he was going to do the second bridge at Onitsha. He's a Christian. He didn't do it. And that's the heart of Igbo land who are Christians. President Jonathan didn't do it. He's a Christian. It is this Muslim who has done it. Beyond imagination, and you need to see the quality of work on that. It's no question of whether you are this or not. It's what you can do to help our people live a good life. That is what is important. And that is going to determine, I believe, and strongly too, the emergence of the presidential candidate on the 25th of this month.
Right. Let's look at this matter of the Naira redesign and its attendant impact or implication for the forthcoming elections. Recall that your candidate, presidential candidate, has said some fifth columnists were behind this recent scarcity of the Naira and the fuel as well. I wonder what your interpretations are of what is going on and perhaps its implication on the election.
Well, I speak at a personal level on this matter. No policy is foolproof, but where, in the course of implementation, some hiccups are observed, government is bound to take corrective measures. And not long ago, The National Council of State met to advise the president, and they said the new and the old currency should run pari passu. It happened in Britain, happened in America, and so on and so forth. So it is nothing new. We need money. The people need money. I know the complaints, there is no money. So they need money to carry out their activities. We have gone past the stage where people used to keep money in their houses. This is going to discourage people in the future from putting money in the banks. And I think government has issued a statement. If I am right, the CBN has issued a statement that the two should run side by side. When our candidate spoke, he said this should run side by side and that money should be made available. I believe elections are going to take place because the president made this comment sometime when he visited America. He was going to organize a very credible, successful, and acceptable election. And that is a man of action. It's a man who keeps his words. He's a highly respected man. And I believe he would want this to be one of his lasting legacies for this country. So on the issue of scarcity of fuel, the fuel queues are reducing here substantially in Abuja. And I believe that before election, normalcy would have been restored. So I am an optimist. I am looking forward with refreshed hope and optimism, like our candidate, Asiwaju Bola Tinubu Ahmed.
Well, we have just about 2 weeks to the elections. People are coming up with all kinds of permutation and polls and so on. Have you guys conducted your own internal poll in the APC to give you the sense of where the voters are going?
They are following us. They are following us. The people are with us. Forget about some of this. You know, they quote one man with one of the candidates, the man who said he was polling. You see, this is one thing with U.S. If you are a professional pollster, yes, they know you. If you are for Democratic Party, they know you. If you are for the Democrats, they know you. But this man was pretending that he was an independent pollster, I understand. Then he was, quote, meeting with one of the presidential candidates. We know where we are weak. It's very few places, very, very few. And that will not really tamper with our result at all, by the grace of God.
All right. This is where we'll leave the conversation this morning, but we must thank you, Senator George Akume, APC chieftain, for your time on the program. Thank you.
Thank you.